How are you? Did you get the PDF handwritten notes wala? Okay. So आगे चलते हैं हम लोग. The note making exercise is like these notes will be useful for you before going to the exam hall also. So the note making exercise, what happens that people do some common mistakes. What are those that if they are writing it, right? Sometimes a spelling mistake in the dictation, some of the kind of spellings, and but though I otherwise try it, any spelling is there, so I just tell it for some of the students who are not able to understand. And then the space is to be left 1 or 2 page after a topic or after a day class, because what happens that if you are reading the previous year question, so you will be able to note it. So segregation or having the organic link of the previous year question, any of the vital fact noted in newspaper, and you want to write it, okay, there in the historical underpinnings or in the structure of the constitution or in the fundamental right, you can note it, right? So what happens that some people have the dictation here and then they go back home and then they fare it again, एक बार अच्छे से लिख लेते हैं so that while revising it they are more interested. शुरू शुरू में क्या होता है कि थोड़ा डेकोरेट भी कर लेते हैं, थोड़ा देखने में अपीलिंग लगे, अच्छा लगे ऐसा. If you can do it then it's fine. Some people start making the gist also, right? The synopsis also, कि वो याद थोड़ा सा एक बार हाथ में आए शुरू शुरू में, बेस बने, स्ट्रॉन्ग कोर बने. That is also a fine idea, right? No, I specified yesterday that this PDF is available for 1 or 2 class only. Why? Because we are having familiarity effect, my tone, toner kind of thing. So in 1 or 2 day time, everything is then kind of smooth. Okay. So all the PDFs are not available. I wrote it deliberately. Sometimes when I was having leisure time, just to facilitate the taking of the class. Okay. So in the note making, some of the people are having the spiral books. स्पाइरल बुक्स में लगभग 200-300 पेज होते हैं और वो लिख लिया, वो रहता है हमेशा. तो 2 स्पाइरल बुक में लगभग पूरा पॉलिटी हो जाता है जो यहाँ मार्केट में मिलता है. देन सम पीपल आर हैविंग यू कैन से काइंड ऑफ देयर रजिस्टर, तो ठीक है, लेकिन बुक्स का पेज ऐसा होना चाहिए जो कम से कम 5-6 साल तक रहे, जब तक आप उसे किसी को डोनेट ना करते हो. नहीं तो कुछ लोग रखते हैं अपने पास ज़िंदगी भर संभाल के, हाँ भाई ये लिखा था हमने, ऐसा कुछ. ओके. So yesterday we talked about the historical underpinnings. The story was from 31st December 1600 AD. Queen Elizabeth, Court of Director, 24 one-man committee, Battle of Plassey, 1757, 1764, Battle of Buxar, then Lord North Committee, then Regulating Act 1773, then Governor of Bengal to Governor General of Bengal, right? Then the story of Charter Acts, right? Then the Supreme Court setting up in 1774, and then followed by the monopoly issue in 1813. Okay, then in 1833 Governor of Bengal was appointed as Governor General of India, and then 1853 the last Charter Act, and after that the first War of Independence, and then the divide and rule and carrot and stick policy. यहाँ तक की हमारी बात हुई थी. तो चल जाएगा दोबारा. So, in the Government of India Act 1909, known as Morley Minto Reform, right? Separate electorates issue I told, right? So, the Britishers were thinking that India cannot be ruled as a united land and it has to be divided. So, they identified two major religious blocks, certain pockets, and then they tried to have whole play there, right? And then 1919, right, to fulfill the demands of the Indian artificially, they introduced diarchy and bicameralism. Okay, तो ये है notes, ये वाला. So the the bicameralism was introduced at the federal level or at the provincial level in 1919. Yeah, bicameralism at the federal level. Okay, central level or federal level. There's a difference between union level, federal level, and central level. Central level is more used in UK. There is no state kind of thing. Everything is centralized. Federal level is more used in US. Federation word means equal or somewhat equal distribution of the powers, like the way it happens in US. But here in India, we have the union. Now, the union word is the agreement and sometimes the annexation. So, we are way above than the federation, but we are lesser than a centralized system. So, in between. So, that is why we are not a federation, we are not a center, we are a federation sui generis. Sui generis means of its own type, means federation of its own type. So K.C. Vieira talked about the cooperative federalism. So that we have that states should not be having the competition that is negative in nature, but healthy competition is fine. So they should not be in conflicting sequence or in the arrangement, but they should be in the complementary arrangement with each other. Healthy competition is fine. What is the problem in these states? So 1909. Okay. 1909 and 1919. Okay. So Morley, Minto, and Montague, Chelmsford. So if I ask that for the first time bicameralism was introduced at the provincial level in 1919 or in 2000, sorry, in 1935. Hmm? 1935. Okay. And the reserved list was introduced in 1919 or 1935? 1919. Okay, the concurrent list was introduced for the first time in 1935 or 1919? 1935. So Schedule 7 arrangement was connected in 1935 or in 1919? Schedule 7. Schedule 7 means same thing, three list: union list, state list, and concurrent list today. So Schedule 7 is present in Indian Constitution today, right? And after that, What was the scenario after 1935? The process of getting independence was relatively faster because of the World War II scenario. But if there is a question in the main examination that the Government of India Act 1935 became a point of no return for some of the important provisions in present constitution today. Point of no return. This Government of India Act 1935 became for the present constitution today. What does it mean? It means that today constitution is having the similar provisions, or present constitution has borrowed those provisions from Government of India Act 1935. Indirectly there is a question. So if I ask that schedule 7 is connected to 1935 or not, so it is a point of no return. Then in 1935 All India Federation was introduced. It is another thing that All India Federation could not come into existence because all the provinces did not join the center. All India Federation simply means all the states today are connected to the parliament today. So this is All India Federation. But that time all the provinces did not join. Out of the elected provinces, 11 elected provinces, only 6 joined. 5 did not join. Because there was a problem. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Gandhi ji, extremist. So the provinces was having kind of today BJP and Congress. So all the Congress led state will not be joining by will this parliament. Maybe by the constitution they are doing it. Right? So this is another thing that All India Federation was also given in 1935, which is followed in today's scenario. Then the third thing is RBI. आज की डेट में भी आप आरबीआई का एक्ट देखोगे उसको पे लिखा है आरबीआई एक्ट 1934, जिसमें आरबीआई ने 1935 से काम करना शुरू किया. And this RBI pattern was provided by Government of India Act 1935. Okay. Now the federal court जिसको आज की डेट में हम क्या बोलते हैं, is very well connected to Government of India Act 1935. Then the UPSC, earlier known as FPSC. पहले ये वाला जो शाहजहां रोड का यूपीएससी है, इट वाज लोकेटेड इन इलाहाबाद, जहां पर आज यूपीपीसीएस अवेलेबल है. इसलिए सारे स्टेट्स के जो पीसीएस होते हैं उनमें यूपीपीसीएस ही एक ऐसा प्रोविंशियल सर्विस कमीशन है जो काफ़ी इंटेक्ट रहता है एग्ज़ाम्स को कंडक्ट कराने में. मतलब पेपर आउट हो गया, एग्ज़ाम नहीं हो रहा है, पॉलिटिक्स हो रही है, ऐसा नहीं है. क्योंकि उस टाइम से यूपीएससी ने अच्छे तरीके से काम किया था, तो आज उनका वही सीक्वेंस बना हुआ है. नहीं तो बिहार में देखो बीपीएससी में 5-5, 6-6 साल तक एग्ज़ाम ही नहीं होता है. फिर एक साथ वैकेंसी आएंगी, 5 साल की टोटल कुमुलेटिव वैकेंसी 6 या 7 ईयर में आएगी. सो विच इज़ नॉट गुड. रेगुलर एग्जाम होना चाहिए. देन if we say last but not the least that the Moti report, the Nehru report, became the base for this Government of India Act 1935. And if we say that Government of India Act 1935 was the first constitution made by the Indian in the British India. So definitely if we have done some homework, why will not we be having it in our original work? We will have it. So that is what the question, and this question has been asked by UPSC. Okay. Now, after this, the process of getting independence includes Scripps proposal, cabinet mission plan, and Mountbatten plan. The Cripps proposal, I told that the Dominion status means half rule. We rejected and we demanded complete independence, Purna Swaraj. In cabinet mission plan, the complete independence was granted, but two nation theory was not accepted, which was improved upon in form of Mountbatten plan, and it was ratified as Indian Independence Act. And this Indian Independence Act was for complete independence and two nation theory, and it provided for a body called as Constituent Assembly, and that Constituent Assembly was given the task to frame the constitution for India and for Pakistan. So it had 389 members. It was jointly decided, but then Muhammad Ali Jinnah, because of his adamant demand, we had to carve out our members, and there were 299 members for the Constituent Assembly to draft Constitution of India. And this assembly had its first meeting on 9th December 1946, wherein Dr. Sachidanand Sinha became its provisional chairperson. Why it is so? Because the Constituent Assembly, having its first meeting, the senior most person in terms of number of years one has served in the democracy becomes a provisional or temporary chairperson. Then all the members by the voice vote elect the permanent chairperson. So permanent chairperson on 11th December 1946 came out to be Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Right? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And the Constituent Assembly started working. This Constituent Assembly was divided into major and minor committees. So there were more than 15 minor committees and 10 major committees. One of the most important committee was the drafting committee headed by Dr. Ambedkar. Then there were other committees, we will discuss it later. But these all committees worked for 2 years, 11 months and 18 days time to give this constitution to us on 26th November 1949. Means we adopted this Indian constitution on 26th November 1949. But this constitution came into effect after 2 months on 26th January 1950, that we celebrate every year as Republic Day. My question, that why the 2 months time was kept in between, that 1929 and 30, that the Inqilab Jindabad and otherwise So he's saying the same. So whenever we have to give effect to something, तो उससे पहले हम लोग कुछ उसका टेलरिंग तो करेंगे ना. कोई भी कपड़ा हमें पहनना है तो टेलर को देंगे फिटिंग के लिए, और उस डेट को हमें पहनना है. तो ऐसे ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, that some of the provisions were not included in it, and there were provisions which came into effect on 26 November 1949 itself. For example, citizenship provisions, right? They came into effect on 26 November itself. But what about the national insignia? Insignia means a national anthem, song, tricolor. Though these were accepted informally, but actually in the constitution they came in, or they included on 24th January 1950, just 2 days before the Republic Day, first Republic Day. Okay, so public comments, other constituent members discussion for the remaining things, that is by the 2 months buffer zone. Then the other thing is that 26th January is known as Republic Day and 26th November is known as Constitution Day. But why Republic Day? Why Republic Day? What is the meaning of Republic? Head of the state must be an elected representative, not the monarchical head. That is the meaning of republic. Fine. It means a republic cannot have a monarchical head. It means UK is not a republic. And US is a republic. So UK is not a republic. And to be a republic, one has to have a written constitution. Is UK having a written constitution? Is UK having a constitution? Yeah. What type of constitution? So it is a verbatim. How? Where is the book? Tell me, give me. Hmm. So basically, what is the difference between written and not written constitution is codification. UK never had a transitional phase of like 2 years, 11 months, and 11 days time, or like that, to codify or sequentially arrange all the laws made so far. If a friend of yours coming from UK, right, and saying, okay, show your constitution, so you will be giving him a book. Okay, this is the constitution. Now in retaliation you are also going sometimes there and you are asking, okay, where is your constitution? Then he will be taking you to a big room wherein all the books, right, kept. So this is our constitution, not codified, not arranged, not organically linked. This is the main difference. So it means any law enacted in the Parliament of UK or by UK Parliament becoming a part of the constitution. Any law. Answer is yes. Now any law enacted here in India by the Parliament is becoming part of the constitution. No. It means in India, constitution is supreme or Parliament is supreme? Constitution is supreme. Whereas in UK, It is constitution that is supreme or parliament supreme? Parliament supreme. So it means constitution is father here and parliament it is daughter. Whereas in UK it is parliament that is mother and constitution is its son. सारा तो रिपब्लिक से ही निकल रहा है. Now democracy is directly proportional to republic, or there may not be a kind of compulsory equation. Not compulsory. Constitutional monarchy and democratic monarchy both possible. But in Bhutan, do we have democracy? Do we have election there? Hmm? There king is there, so it's a monarchy. But don't they have democracy? Don't they have it means in democracy compulsorily elections are to be there, or in democracy elections are to be there. Fine. Hmm. In Bhutan, we have monarchical democracy. It's not constitutional monarchy, but in Bhutan we have monarchical democracy. So Ram Rajya was a monarchical democracy, or Ravan Rajya was monarchical democracy? Rama Rajya. So Bhutan, the happiness index is fine. People are heard. It's not that only election. Here in India, we are also having election, जिसमें एक दूसरे का कत्ल कर देते हैं हम लोग. तो हाँ, so election per se is sufficient for us to label us as democratic nation. No. So that is the matter of analysis. So in Bhutan, de facto monarchical democracy we have in context of the happiness index, not on paper. Okay. So these are all analogical things that you might be writing or will be writing in essay or in long analytical questions. Okay. So we may write it further. कल लास्ट लाइन क्या थी? Hmm? 1858 it was done. Okay. Now please write ahead of this. The British Parliament took over British India from East India Company and it had to do the same business of exploiting Indian in the name of welfare and good governance. Good governance. Full stop. For this divide and rule and carrot and stick policies were followed. Full stop. In this sense, three council acts, three council acts were brought to seek were brought to seek cooperation of Indians, cooperation of Indians, and to allay, allay the of any revolt further, chance of any revolt further. We can notice these council acts with significant provisions. With significant provisions. Number 1, Council Act of 1861. Council Act of 1861. In this, Legislative Council was created to reconstruct Governor General's Council so as to separate legislative functions from executive work. Full stop. So a grain of popular element, full stop. So a grain, GRAIN, grain of popular element was introduced but it was quite cosmetic. It was quite cosmetic as they were not elected representative. Full stop. Also, portfolio system, PORTFOLIO, portfolio system, which is known as ministry today, was officially recognized wherein members of Viceroy Council *S Council were to look after one or more department. Full stop. But such delegation was an eyewash as veto power was available with Viceroy. Right? In this Act of 1861, CRPC, CRPC मतलब सिविल सॉरी क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड, CRPC 1861, ICSA, that is Indian Civil Service Act 1861, then IPC इंडियन पिनल कोड जो आज भी काम कर रहा है 1862, NCPC मतलब सिविल प्रोसीजर कोड, NCPC 1859 were passed and applied, were passed and applied, and these are continuing till date with some modifications. It means, full stop, it means legislative, comma executive, comma judicial, and bureaucratic work were separated, were separated with an element of, with an element of representativeness in the government. Right, then number second heading डालना है Council Act of 1892. It further strengthened, it further strengthened ICA 1861, Indian Council Act 1861, by increasing the numbers of members, number of members in legislative and executive council. Council, full stop. Also, the right to ask question, right to ask question was complemented by allowing discussion over the budget, by allowing ALLOWING, allowing discussion over budget, discussion over budget. Right, right below this, these above two acts, these above two acts were part of carrot and stick policy. Full stop. If we look at the example of divide and rule, if we look at the example of divide and rule, the Council Act of 1909, the Council Act of 1909, popularly known as Morley-Minto Reform, popularly known as Morley Minto reforms, was brought with the provision of separate electorates, which was indirectly communal representation, which was indirectly communal representation. The whites, full stop, the whites understood that India cannot be the the whites understood that India cannot be ruled as a land united land, and to divide it, comma, they identified two major religious blocks. They identified two major religious blocks as Hindu and Muslims, and the elections were designed in the name of administrative conveniency. In the name of administrative conveniency. Perhaps the result of it was formation of Pakistan in 1947. Formation of Pakistan in 1947. This act is also labeled as benevolent despotism, BENEVOLENT, benevolent despotism, DESPOTISM. Benevolent despotism means, in bracket if you want to write, kind absolute power, bracket closed. Benevolent despotism for having constitutional autocracy, Full stop. So this 1909 Act was just a device face saving device for Britishers. Saving device, चेहरा बचाने वाला device for Britishers. Okay, so if you are writing this paragraphic appeal kind of things, you need to underline the expressional things like benevolent despotism, face saving device, so one can identify, and even while revising it you can also just pinpointedly notice it. Now right below this, apart from the above, if we look at if we look at the legislations other legislations as part of carrot and stick policy, we find the following two. We find the following two. Number one, Government of India Act 1919. Government of India Act 1919. It is also known as Montague-Chelmsford Report. Montague-Chelmsford Report. Montague-Chelmsford. Chelmsford Report. Right, in this act was the result of post World War scenario wherein British Parliament was to oblige British India British India by way of giving concessions in return of cooperation given by moderates in return of cooperation given by moderates full stop. For this, two elements known as diarchy and bicameralism were introduced. Diarchy and bicameralism were introduced. Full stop. Diarchy simply means two list system. Simply means two list system which was introduced at the provincial level in form of reserved and transferred list. Full stop. The transferred list subject could be legislated over by the Indians on subjects like agriculture, irrigation, but after comma, but the reserved list that was kept with that was kept with the white governor with the white governor was having subjects important subjects like finance, law and order, defense, etc. to make laws. To make laws. Full stop. So it was an eyewash again. It was an eyewash again. The next paragraph. Bicameralism means two house system which was introduced at federal level to introduce upper house or today's Rajya Sabha to accommodate those Indians who were willing to be part of lawmaking process, who were willing to be part of lawmaking process. It was also an eyewash. It was also an eyewash as substantial powers were available with the lower house, membered by mainly whites. Lower house membered by mainly whites. Okay. Full stop. This apart, direct elections were introduced for the first time. And also Public Service Commission was set up. Public Service Commission was set up. Right, then right below this, knowing knowing this that it is an eyewash, Gandhiji launched non-cooperation movement. Knowing this that it was an eyewash, Gandhiji launched non-cooperation movement. Okay. Then right below this second one, the Government of India Act 1935. Right in this, the above two elements, diarchy and bicameralism were changed for their for their content as well as position. Full stop. Was ended diarchy was ended at the provincial level, and it was introduced at the at the federal level in form of three list namely federal list, comma provincial list, and concurrent list. Full stop. Similar provision is found in form of Schedule 7 in today's Indian Constitution. Found in form of Schedule 7 in form of today's Indian Constitution. Okay. The next paragraph. Bicameralism. Bicameralism, in addition to the federal level, comma, was also introduced at the provincial level to have upper house or today's legislative council. Okay, then right below this, it means All India Federation was introduced though it could not become a reality because only 6 out of 11 elected provincial government accepted it. 6 out of 11 elected provincial government accepted it. Full stop. A federal court was set up in Delhi. Which became the precursor precursor for today's Supreme Court. Full stop. It also provided for RBI. It also provided for the RBI to control the currency and credit for the country. Full stop. Emergency powers were also given to the Viceroy. right. Then right below this, in a nutshell, this act of 1935 was not less than a sugar coated quinine, SUGAR, sugar coated, COATED, coated quinine, QUININE. Okay. But based on Nehru report, this act can be understood as first constitution given by Indians during British India. During British India, with certain points of no return, with certain points of no returns for today's constitution, for today's constitution. Okay. Then right below this, after this act, the process of getting independence was relatively faster was relatively faster because of the World War II scenario. The Cripps proposal in March 1942 was first such attempt to grant us independence in form of dominion status, in form of dominion status, which simply means that India had to accept the crown rule, and it could not be a sovereign state. It couldn't be a sovereign, SOVERGEIN, sovereign state. We rejected it. The next paragraph. Again, cabinet mission plan in 1946 was brought to grant us complete independence without accepting TNT, without accepting two nation theory, as it was not in favor as it was not in favor of in favor of Britishers' commercial interest. Britishers' commercial interest. Full stop. For this purpose, this plan was improved upon. This plan was improved upon in form of Mountbatten Plan 1947, which was approved as Indian Independence Act. Indian Independence Act. Okay. Then after this, we have to talk about the Constituent Assembly and the making of the Constitution. So put the heading making of the Constitution. Write in this Indian Independence Act. Indian Independence Act provided for Constituent Assembly with 399 members with 399 members to 389 members 389 members to frame constitution for India and for Pakistan. Later on, it was left with only 299 members to frame constitution for India only. It had its first meeting on 9th December 1946 wherein Dr. Sachidanand Sinha became its provisional chairperson. As after 2 days on 11th December, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as its permanent chairperson. Full stop. It worked for 2 years, 11 months and 18 days time to frame the constitution which was adopted on 26th November 1949, and it was enforced it was enforced on 26th January 1950. 1950, that we celebrate every year as Republic Day. ओके, सो यहाँ तक की बात हमारी आपकी डिस्कस हुई थी। आपको पता है पाकिस्तान का जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन था, पाकिस्तान बनने के 25 साल बाद, after 25 years, in 1972 they could have their constitution. How many words we had in our constitution? 1.45 lakh words. Largest constitution of the world. आज की डेट में साउथ अफ्रीका का जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो एडिशन ऑफ ऑल द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जो मिला सब लिस्ट में शामिल। इफ यू सी द फंडामेंटल राइट लिस्ट, more than 100. Here in India, how many fundamental rights? Categories are originally 7 but now 6, but fundamental rights in number 18 in them. 6 categories. That's it. आज का भी डॉक्यूमेंट आपको वैसे मिल जाएगा, थोड़ा उसमें ज़्यादा डिटेल है तो आप देख लेना। सो इफ यू लुक एट द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो ओरिजिनल में हमें मिला था, उसमें क्या था सभी लोगों को पता है। एक प्रीएम्बल था, कुछ पार्ट्स थे, आर्टिकल्स थे एंड शेड्यूल्स थे। प्रीएम्बल तो एक ही है, सही बात है कि नहीं, और एक ही बार अमेंड हुआ है। उसमें एडजेक्टिव्स भी हैं एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स भी हैं। ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड एडजेक्टिव्स। एडजेक्टिव्स मतलब प्रोसेस, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स मतलब द प्रोडक्ट, मीन्स एंड एंड। सो मीन्स क्या है? सॉवराइन, सोशलिस्ट, सेक्युलर, डेमोक्रेटिक एंड रिपब्लिक, ये 5 एडजेक्टिव्स हैं। एडजेक्टिव्स क्या हैं? जस्टिस, लिबर्टी, इक्वलिटी एंड फ्रेटर्निटी, JLEF। ये कितने हैं? 4 हैं। ओरिजिनली ये 2 नहीं थे, ये 1976 में आए, और फ्रेटर्निटी के फुट नोट में एक वर्ड और ऐड हुआ जिसका नाम था इंटीग्रिटी, इंटीग्रल इंडिया। टोटल कितने वर्ड हो गए? 2 एंड 1, 3 वर्ड ऐड हुए, तो एक ही बार ये अमेंडेड है। बात करेंगे प्रीएम्बल की। अभी इसी प्रीएम्बल से जुड़े हुए दूसरे पार्ट्स, आर्टिकल एंड शेड्यूल हैं। यदि इनके मतलब की बात पूछी जाए इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ बुक, जिसके पास एक इंट्रोडक्शन भी होता है, चैप्टर्स भी होते हैं, चैप्टर्स के अंदर इंफॉर्मेशन भी होती है और एक अपेंडिक्स भी होता है। तो यदि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एक बुक है तो इसका इंट्रोडक्शन तो समझ में आ गया कि प्रीएम्बल है, बट व्हाट अबाउट दीज 3? इसमें जो अपेंडिक्स है वो इन तीनों में क्या है? हुँ? क्या है? शेड्यूल। शेड्यूल अपेंडिक्स है, जैसे हर किताब के लास्ट में होता है। तो शेड्यूल इज अटैच्ड इन द लास्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। to explain further what is not explained in the parts. तो इसका मतलब बचा हुआ क्या रह गया? पार्ट्स एंड आर्टिकल. तो इन दोनों में से चैप्टर का क्या नाम है? चैप्टर को क्या बोलते हैं? पार्ट्स. एंड पार्ट्स के अंदर क्या दिया हुआ है? इंफॉर्मेशन. इंफॉर्मेशन मतलब आर्टिकल्स. यस और नो? तो ओरिजिनली कितने पार्ट्स थे हमारे पास? नहीं, 12. 8 शेड्यूल थे जो आज की डेट में 12 हो गए हैं, मतलब 4 ऐड हुए हैं. बोलो पार्ट्स कितने थे? 18 थे, 22 थे, 25 थे, 26 थे, कितने थे? 18. जो आज की डेट में हो तो 22 गए हैं, लेकिन 22 के अंदर में सब कैटेगरी मिलाएंगे तो 25 पे आ जाएंगे हम लोग. ठीक है. देन 395 आर्टिकल्स थे. कितने थे? 395. आज की डेट में ये संख्या अप्रोक्स 450 हो गई है. लेकिन मेरा सवाल ये है कि आर्टिकल 396 क्या कहता है? नहीं पता. आर्टिकल 396 है ही नहीं तो कहेगा क्या? देन 450 numbers. How? Because we have added it in form of the sub part of the article. So article 21A. So it's an independent article. It is counted as another article. So part 9, wherein article 243A to O means article 243A, article 243B, C, all are in number. Numbering is there. So article 51A, fundamental duties, another article. As simple as that. Article 395 is the last article which says that मैं संविधान पार्लियामेंट को ये परमिट करता हूँ that मुझे वो मार सकती है, अमेंड कर सकती है. खत्म हो जाता है. That's how it is. Okay. So analogically you have understood this, right? Now in the preamble we will look at it separately. If we talk about parts, parts are to be seen as chapters that we will look into it in the detailed format. But there is a question, and after that we will be looking at the schedules, the 12 schedules. Okay. So there is a question for some of the important parts. So question is, match the followings. ऐसा वैसे क्वेश्चन आता नहीं है जो मैं बनाने जा रहा हूँ, बट फिर भी लेट्स ट्राई. A, B, C, D, E. Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. इसको मैच करा देते हैं A, B, C, D, E से. ये कैप्स में है, ये स्मॉल में है. आर्टिकल 1 to 4, आर्टिकल 5 to 11. इसमें कुछ गलत होगा, ठीक है. आर्टिकल 12 to 36, आर्टिकल 37 to 51, आर्टिकल 52 to 151. इसमें आगे क्या करें? इसमें आगे अल्फा, बीटा, गामा डेल्टा एन एम्डा। ठीक है, तो लिखते हैं यहाँ पे यूनियन एंड इट्स टेरिटरी citizenship union executive and legislature fundamental rights DPSP। अभी ऑप्शंस हैं आपके 1 2 3 4 ऑप्शंस है। ऑप्शंस क्या हैं? ए अल्फा, बी बोलो, बीटा। आगे इस तरीके से अरेंज करने हैं। मान लो यहाँ पे मैंने लिख दिया अल्फा ए बी बी। कितना हार्ड हो जाएगा ये क्वेश्चन। आंसर क्या होगा इसमें, एक कोई बताओ। चलो मैं चौथा आंसर मान लेता हूँ, इसको फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स कर देते हैं। बताओ। ए अल्फा, देन बी बीटा। आगे बोलो। सी डेल्टा। यार इसमें तो होगा ही नहीं। देखो, इसमें यहाँ पे ना 12 to 35 है, तो यदि हमें मानना भी पड़े तो हम क्या करेंगे, इसको तो एलिमिनेट ही कर देंगे। केवल वो इससे मैच हो पाएगा, ये दो तो गलत ही हो जाएंगे। दो तो गलत ही हो जाएंगे, वहां पे ऑप्शन में रहेगा वो दो चीजें नहीं होंगी, क्योंकि ये गलत था। आर्टिकल 35 और यहाँ पे आर्टिकल 36, यदि ऐसा कर दें तो सही है। ठीक है, तो आंसर कुछ तो बनेगा। परेशान हो जाएंगे बच्चे, एक तो ऑप्शन ऐसे दिए हुए हैं ए सब कंफ्यूजिंग है। नहीं, सिंपल है कि नहीं क्वेश्चन? इज नॉट सिंपल। सिंपल है, तो इसे लिख लेते हैं हम लोग फटाफट। इसमें हम लोग ये मिटा देते हैं बेसिकली। ओके, ये मिटा दिया। ये बेसिकली एक लिस्ट है पार्ट्स की, जो मैंने एक क्वेश्चन के रूप में आपके सामने दे दी है, तो एक कनेक्शन बन जाता है माइंड में। एंड ये वाला जो डीपीएसपी है वो इसके साथ में लिखना है, फंडामेंटल राइट है वो इसके साथ में लिखना है, और ये वाला इसके साथ में लिखना है। बाकी सब कुछ सेम है। लिस्ट लिख लो इसको फटाफट से। इसी वाली लिस्ट को आगे बढ़ाते हैं थोड़ा सा। F. So part 6, part 14, part 15, part 20. Article 152 to 237. ये वाला जो एक आर्टिकल है ना 223, इसको ना डिलीट मार दिया है। इसकी जगह पे हम लोग कैट ले आए हैं। तो कुछ किताबों में ये यहाँ दिया रहता है, कुछ में यहाँ दिया रहता है। कैट मतलब सिविल सर्वेंट्स के लिए एक कोर्ट होता है, ट्राइब्यूनल। तो वहाँ पे हमारे सीनियर रिटायर्ड लोग ही मेंबर बनते हैं एज अ जज। सो दिस इज स्टेट एग्जीक्यूटिव, इसको लिख सकते हो आप हाल के हाल। एंड लेजिस्लेचर, इलेक्शंस, amendment. Done. इन पार्ट्स को हम डिफरेंट फुल फ्लैज्ड चैप्टर की तरह डिस्कस करेंगे हर आर्टिकल को, बट उससे पहले हम लोग शेड्यूल की बात कर लेते हैं। तो पहले शेड्यूल की हमें लिस्ट लिखनी पड़ेगी, फिर एक के बाद एक शेड्यूल्स को हम लोग लेते जाएंगे। शेड्यूल्स में हम लोग 1 2 3 यूज़ करते हैं, यहाँ पे हम रोमन यूज़ करते हैं। ठीक है, तो इसकी लिस्ट हम लोग लिखते हैं। शेड्यूल 1, नेम ऑफ the states and union territories, salary and emoluments of dignitaries. डन। तो शेड्यूल 1 की बात कर लेते हैं, बट उससे पहले एक सवाल है। सवाल ये है that what's the difference between schedule and part? Appendix and parts are the chapters जिसमें आर्टिकल्स इंक्लूड होते हैं। चलो ये एक डिफरेंस हो गया। देन दूसरा डिफरेंस, पहला डिफरेंस हो गया पार्ट्स जो है वो चैप्टर हैं, शेड्यूल्स जो है वो अपेंडिक्स है। देन इसमें आर्टिकल्स होते हैं, इसमें आर्टिकल्स नहीं होते हैं। दूसरा डिफरेंस। क्या चीज़ है? अच्छा, ये मान लो 25 है एंड ये 12 है। थर्ड, शेड्यूल्स आर पार्ट ऑफ आर्टिकल्स इटसेल्फ। तो ये सुपरा सेट है एंड ये सबसेट है, यही तो है। और ये नंबर में ज़्यादा है, ये कम है, एंड और क्या अंतर है? हर पार्ट के लिए एक शेड्यूल अवेलेबल नहीं है, कुछ पार्ट्स के लिए ही शेड्यूल अवेलेबल है, ये भी एक बात हो गई। एंड उसके अलावा parts provide authority to parliament to act conceptually and factually both, whereas schedules are generally factual in nature as the extra explanation to some parts, right? For example, part 1 is talking about union and its territory, whereas schedule 1 is about name of the states and union territories। तो कोई नया स्टेट बनेगा तो उसका नाम कहाँ पे शामिल होगा? शेड्यूल 1 में। लेकिन बनाया कैसे जाएगा वो पार्ट 1 बताएगा। ये अंतर है, ठीक है। देन एक अंतर और है कि पार्ट्स में नेसेसरीली आर्टिकल्स आता ही आता है, बट शेड्यूल में आर्टिकल नहीं आता। शेड्यूल में आर्टिकल नहीं आता, ये भी एक अंतर है। 10th शेड्यूल में क्या आर्टिकल है एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ में, बताओ? कॉन्सेप्ट है, एक्स्ट्रा एक्सप्लेनेशन। आर्टिकल क्या है? आर्टिकल में, हाँ, आर्टिकल इज सब्सटेंटिव इन नेचर, substantive in nature, whereas schedule without article is factual in nature। Substantive means conceptual, authoritative in nature, ठीक है। ये वैसे किताबों में नहीं है, बट isn't a surprise that if someone is asking, हालांकि ये रिटन में भी नहीं पूछेंगे, वो इंटरव्यू लेवल पे पूछ लेते हैं। जिसका पॉल साइंस है ऑप्शनल, ठीक है, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑप्शनल है, तो उनसे पूछ लेते हैं। जिसने पीएचडी की हुई है पॉल साइंस में, उससे पूछ लेंगे। इतना तो आता नहीं चाहिए, आना चाहिए ना फिर तो, पीएचडी पॉल साइंस में किया है तो, है ना। सो थोड़ा हार्ड हो जाएगा यदि मेंस लेवल पे पूछेंगे ये चीज़ तो। पूछ भी सकते हैं यदि उन्होंने अपने डिग्निटी को मेंटेन करना है, यूपीएससी वाला, हाँ कुछ सॉल्व नहीं हो पाया, ईगो सेटिस्फेक्शन। एनीवे, नाउ कमिंग टू द schedule 1. Schedule 1 is about name of the states and union territories. Now, in this 28 states plus 8 union territories, Dadar and Nagar Haveli and दमन एंड दीव दोनों इंटीग्रेट हो गए हैं, तो 8 बचे, पहले 9 थे। फिर जम्मू कश्मीर स्टेट था, वो यूटी बन गया, ठीक है। तो 10 होते जो 8 हो गए, 29 से 28 हो गए, ठीक है। नाउ शेड्यूल 1 के अंदर में यदि हमें अमेंडमेंट करना हो तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट करना होगा या अमेंडमेंट की जरूरत नहीं है। एक चीज और है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट करने के लिए हमें आर्टिकल 368 जो पार्ट 20 अभी आपने लिखा है उसकी जरूरत पड़ती है। ऑर्डिनरी लेजिस्लेशन के लिए हमें केवल आर्टिकल 13 की जरूरत पड़ती है, और इसमें स्पेसिफाइड है कि स्पेशल मेजोरिटी यूज होती है। स्पेशल मेजोरिटी कौन सी वाली? 2/3 present and voting which should be more than or equal to total strength of the house, the formula। ordinary legislation के लिए क्या है? that half of the present and voting but which should not be less than 1/10th member, which is called as quorum, means of the house strength, means of Lok Sabha 543, this strength should not be less than 55, and for Rajya Sabha it is 245, means it should not be less than 25। Not understood? थोड़ा थोड़ा मान लो कि राज्यसभा के, लोकसभा के अंदर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट होना है, ठीक है, स्पेशल मेजोरिटी होनी है। अच्छा, यहाँ पे एक बात और बता दूं, शेड्यूल 1 के लिए हमें इसकी जरूरत है, इसकी जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है। नाउ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट में मान लो लोकसभा के अंदर जो संख्या है आज की डेट में मेंबर्स की 543 है, राइट। बुक्स में 545 लिखा हुआ है, लेकिन एंग्लो इंडियन मेंबर्स अब नहीं होते हैं, मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने मना कर दिया, अब नहीं एंग्लो इंडियन मेंबर को करेंगे, इलेक्शन के थ्रू आ सकते हैं, नॉमिनेशन के थ्रू नहीं आएंगे। सो अभी एक दिन कोई पर्टिकुलर डे में 450 एमपी मौजूद हैं, बाकी लोग 93 लोग जो है वो नहीं है, एब्सेंट है। इसमें से केवल 425 लोगों ने वोट दिया, मतलब प्रेजेंट ये हैं लेकिन वोटिंग देने वालों की संख्या है, बाकी 25 लोग सो रहे हैं या खाना वाना खा रहे हैं, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, या वोट नहीं दे रहे, एब्सटेनिंग फ्रॉम वोट। तो यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग के जगह पे क्या आएगा? 2/3 इंटू 545 विच शुड बी मोर देन और इक्वल टू हाफ ऑफ टोटल स्ट्रेंथ। टोटल स्ट्रेंथ कितनी है? 543। now this number whatever x is and must be equal to this number. This number must be what? 272 at least, right? This x is 272 or not? बताओ मुझे, मीन्स कितना होगा ये? 850 डिवाइडेड बाई 3, यही तो आएगा। नहीं नहीं नहीं, गलत हो गया, गलत है या सही है? दिस शुड बी 850 ना, या 8 शुड 50 डिवाइडेड बाई 3, सही है। तो ये पास हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? हुँ? हो गया। क्यों? क्योंकि 283 इज ग्रेटर देन 272। यदि यहां पर वोटिंग कम होती, मान लो 400 होता, तो क्या ये पास हो पाता? नहीं हो पाता। 800 डिवाइडेड बाई 3। नहीं हो। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के आर्टिकल 367 में दिया हुआ है कि यदि कोई संख्या 5 से ऊपर है तो उसको एक की तरह मान लिया जाएगा, 0.5। 0.5 से नीचे है तो फिर उसको हम इग्नोर कर देंगे। समझ में आई इतनी बात? तो यहां पर हमें ऑर्डिनरी लेजिस्लेशन की जरूरत पड़ती है। कोई समस्या? ओके। नाउ ऐसे ही हमारे पास टाइम कितना है? तो टाइम तो ज़्यादा नहीं है। शेड्यूल 2 की बात कल ही करेंगे और कल ही लिखेंगे। इसको लिख लेते हैं लेकिन शेड्यूल 1 को। मैथ से डर तो नहीं लगता वैसे? मैथ से डर तो नहीं लगता? मैथ वैसे यूपीएससी में आती नहीं है। सी सेट तो इज अबाउट जीएमए, जनरल मेंटल एबिलिटी, मैथ नहीं है वो। ठीक है। शेड्यूल 1, राइट इन दिस। It includes it includes name of 28 states, 28 states and 8 union territories, 8 union territories, union territories. It complements part 1. It complements part 1 that includes article 124, that includes article 124. It can be amended by ordinary legislation. It can be amended by ordinary legislation. Ordinary legislation requiring ordinary legislation with 1/2 of present and voting. Present and voting. नीचे लिखें schedules can be defined as an appendix, can be defined as an appendix attached at the last of the constitution to provide extra explanations to some of the parts and articles. Some of the parts and articles. हेडिंग डालना शेड्यूल 2 और वहीं पे छोड़ दें। ठीक है। तो शेड्यूल की 2 की जो कहानी है वो हम कल देख लेंगे। आगे देख चलें या यहीं छोड़ दें? यहीं छोड़ दें। ठीक है। तो कल मुलाकात करते हैं फिर। ठीक है।